makerspaces, not only at Northeastern, but also, worldwide, are fundamentally embedded with the idea of peer-to-peer and collaborative hands-on work. We're trying to find an opportunity in this unfortunate situation to put attention towards aspects of the makerspace that we perhaps don't have as much time to do on the fly when we're working in the shop itself. While we're sort of stuck in quarantine or at least have limited access to outside resources, we really will start to see some fascinating results as far as art and design and architectural projects by way of creatively applying unexpected materials and unexpected scenarios to solve different challenges. I've been working with faculty in art and design and brainstorming thoughts of how we might be able to put together some general toolkits to maintain some regularity for our fundamentals courses, particularly in building the same model making skills that we do on campus, but utilizing pre-configured toolkits with specific hand tools and resources, potentially even select materials that we can assign specific exercises and projects using those resources. One way that I've been able to maintain communication in a lighthearted way with my student staff, which is a big part of sort of my CAMB family, is to offer a weekly check-in with no specific agenda. We're calling them Shop Talk Mondays, and it's a Zoom session that's open for any of my staff to join. It's there for my student staff to share updates, for me to stay updated with what they're working on. I can answer any questions or help solve any issues that they may have. But ultimately, it can be a casual conversation where we share, interesting documentaries or resources that we've come across over this past week. And I'm really looking forward to continuing that over the next few weeks, even into the summer, as students might continue getting back into a summer workflow or joining their co-ops or joining a new employer. So now on a daily basis, I'm checking in and constantly in communication with my full-time co-op, Jonathan Bell. He is maintaining a rigorous research project where we're not only customizing many of our 3D printers and the firmware that goes along with them, but he's also reviving and customizing new printers from the ground up as a way to understand the physical computing that is behind the technology. When we're forced into these new technologies, whether you've used a learning platform or not, particularly for courses and studios that may not be, conducive to traditional online learning contexts, you're forced to embrace features and techniques and capabilities of these platforms. And I think we're going to discover a lot of efficiencies as far as faculty and staff management goes, where we can have effective discussion-based forums, project submissions, interesting presentation methods and avenues. And I really do think that when we find ourselves returning to campus and returning to a level of normalcy, we're going to have these digital techniques in our back pocket as a comfortable workflow that we're going to naturally integrate moving forward. The courses and the faculty that I integrate with mostly are embedded in art and design and the School of Architecture. And we have been very lucky through this whole situation that many of our students work in a digital workspace anyway as a component of their research, whether you're doing graphic design work in the Adobe suite, or if you're working in AutoCAD, or modeling with 3D modeling software for architecture. That has become such a core component of the design process as a tool that it just became a continuation of that. And sadly, by stripping away the hands-on experimental opportunities that we have in our maker spaces, it still was sort of a comfort zone, knowing that we could always fall back on the digital workflows. So I don't think that our art and design and architecture programs that are embedded in the makerspace have been at much of a loss at the moment. I think that it will only grow the urge to return even stronger, and the enthusiasm and the desire to get back to working with real materials in an experimental way, away from a computer screen. That's all going to build and build and build. And I think we're going to find ourselves embracing each other, embracing new exciting work when we return. And not only will the work now and over the next few weeks and months be quite dynamic with being resourceful with what we have available, but I also think that we're going to return with a great deal of enthusiasm.